So here we're looking at problem number 18 from graphing on the number line with inequalities or other types of equations. And these represent a little bit more difficult questions than the previous ones because we actually have an equation, 3x is less than or equal to 9. So we have to think about what would I multiply x by, what numbers would be true, 3 times what numbers would be less than 9. So there's a couple ways to think about this. One, I could just sort of experiment with numbers. Like if I just thought of 0, 3 times 0 is 0. And that is less than 9. So that would be true. We know that 0 is true. And maybe I'll just go over to 5. So I'm kind of guessing right now. 5 times 3 is 15, but that's not less than 9. So I know that it's not that. So let's just kind of work backwards then. I know it's more than 0, but less than 5. So again, I'm just guessing. If I go 3 times, I'll actually write some equations here. 3 times 4 is 12. And 12 is not less than 9. So that doesn't work. 4 is not enough. So if I go 3 times 3, that's 9. And 9 is less than, or in this case, equal to 9. So I know that 3 works, and I knew that 0 works, so I know that at least I could say that 3 works, and then numbers less than 3 work. So that's one way to kind of sort of guess and check your way through this problem. Just try some numbers and see if you get something that's less than or equal to 9. Or the other way to look at this is an equation. And in any equation situation, if I just take my equation and I solve it, so if I have 3x is less than or equal to 9, and I just solve for x. So in other words, I do the same thing to both sides of the equation. I divide both sides by 3. Because you can do that. You can do the same thing to both sides of any equation. So if I take 3 divided by 3, that's 1. And the reason I chose 3 is so that that would become a 1. 1 times x is x. And x is less than or equal to 9 divided by 3, which is 3. And so that's really, if I solve this equation, tells me that x is anything less than or equal to 3, which is what I actually already graphed. X, in this case, is less than or equal to 3. And that's what this equation equals. X is less than or equal to 3. And you can, again, just use different values for x and put them in there. If I said x is 1, 3 times 1 is 3, and that is less than 9. So there's all of these values from here over. Anything 3 or less still works and makes this equation true.